Hello and welcome back to Tidbit of Torah. I've always been fond of sitting around the campfire, eating s'mores, singing songs, looking up at the stars, or just hanging out with a group of friends or at camp. Many of us share this positive memory, despite the terrible smell of campfire smoke, around campfires. Well, this week's holiday is not only Memorial Day on the secular calendar, but we often have bonfires on Lag BaOmer, which is coming up starting this Saturday night into Sunday. Many people wonder, what is Lag BaOmer? Well, let's first of all just start with the word. Lag BaOmer actually means the 33rd of the Omer period. So Lamed, the first letter, signifies 30, and Gimel is the numerical equivalent of 3. So by Gematria, literally Lag BaOmer means the 33rd day of the time of the Omer. What is the Omer? Omer is that period of time that we count from the second night of Passover to the holiday of Shavuot, a time of counting, a time of self-growth, and a time that begins with a sense of mourning and then is elevated in joy towards the latter part. Lag BaOmer is that critical point in which we move out of the mourning practices that are practiced between Passover and this 33rd day of the Omer into a more joyful, elevated time of the Omer when people will resume having weddings, having haircuts, listening to more live music, and inhabiting just a more joyful sort of presence. Why do we even mourn these first days of the Omer? Well, it's connected to a couple things. One is that it's attributed to the loss of life of Rabbi Akiva's 24,000 students, and the time of the Bar Kokhba rebellion. And so there's a sense that sort of out of memory for this loss, that we sort of observe some practices, but not all, of a state of communal mourning. Another aspect of sort of why the first part of the Omer period is more solemn is also that when you think about it, how it maps onto the Israelite journey, like they have just left slavery. They have left that terrible place where they don't have freedom, where they don't know where necessarily what the future will be. They don't have the freedom of being able to control so much in their lives, like those other people in the world who might feel trapped, whether those that are in captivity or are facing some kind of enslavement in their life. And so the first period of freedom is not 100% free. It's not until we reach Sinai and we receive the Torah and we celebrate after 7 weeks of Shavuot, do we truly get that sense of the freedom to be in relationship and worship their God, to be able to be an a people, to also be able to just have a freedom to learn and reflect and receive, and all those things that were denied them as a people before. And so why do we celebrate that with bonfires? Well, also because Lag BaOmer is a time in which we remember Shimon Bar Yochai of the 2nd century, who is the author of the famous Kabbalistic text, the Zohar. And so the bonfire, and oftentimes this sort of connection to the outdoors, is actually attributed in memory of Shimon Bar Yochai. And so much of this period has a deep sort of Kabbalistic element. Sometimes you'll actually see people going and giving their children their 3-year-old haircut, which we call upsharin, a Yiddish word, for the traditional practice that a baby, oftentimes a baby boy, is not given a haircut until they reach the age of 3. And so people actually make an exodus to Shimon Bar Yochai's grave and actually do that, is one tradition that sometimes happens. But what does that mean for us? Well, I think this holiday of Lag BaOmer is an invitation to, number one, allow ourselves to feel some joy. Whatever is making you feel stuck or making you feel down, to honor that, but to also do something fun, to connect to the natural world, whether that is through lighting a campfire, having a barbecue outside, going for a hike and enjoying the beautiful weather, or just taking some time to listen to the birds chirp and the flowers bloom, witnessing all that growth and experience of nature around us, and also to reconnect to what lights the fire within us. What is it that is a source of passion for us and our family? What is something that you could do to get your children to connect to that sort of fiery sense of spirit, or to yourself, to be able to sort of ignite that sense of inspiration, that sense of joy, that sense of connection? What is the fire that you need on Lag BaOmer? I want to wish you a Shabbat Shalom, a happy Lag BaOmer, and a meaningful journey through the rest of this Omer stage as we march closer and closer to the mountain of receiving the Torah at Shavuot. Shabbat Shalom.